find us, Rupert. That's the reality now, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you got out when the getting was good.
Hey, what, Rupert? What is your official title?
Director, Harrison County Emergency Management, Homeland Security, and E911 Director.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Director of Emergency Management.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast View, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi a better place to live, work, and play. Hey, we're live today. We're not pre-taping the show today for obvious reasons because we got a hurricane out there. I understand what the latest is. So that's kind of the situation. So we have Rupert Lacey with us today, who is the Director of Management for Harrison County. Rupert, how are you?
You know, we're hanging in there just like the residents of the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Yeah, so hey, we got a slight technical issue. Let him fix that. Hang on one second. Oh, we've got a big one. So let's see. Hopefully it'll go away. Hello. How you got the echo? So anyway, Rupert, we'll just keep talking. Hopefully things will get better. So essentially where we are is that the hurricane is off our coast, according to last advisory, was moving to the west 2 miles per hour. And so drifting for the most, because the reality is got a storm that doesn't have good steering. And so the National Hurricane Center is just saying what we know, which is anywhere in the hurricane warning area should be prepared for a up to Category 2 storm, and that's kind of the reality of where we sit right now, isn't it?
It is. You know, they're doing an outstanding job. They've narrowed the cone down. We're still under the cone, but you know, as we have said all along, look at the water, and you know the water. We've had these conversations at your old job. We've had them here at the EOC when we would operate under normal conditions. But waters are building in the bays, in the canals and the lakes, pushing up the river. We haven't got the rainfall yet. Looking at those feeder bands, Jackson County's getting them. It's going all the way down into the Gulf here shortly. We should see those. The tropical force winds extend out 125 miles. We're coming into high tide. Today's tide is higher than yesterday's tide. In the Back Bay already, I was able to do some windshield assessments earlier and the beachfront. So unfortunately, we've got another day for the waters to still be on this astronomical high tide. These waters aren't going to be pushed out. So today and possibly tomorrow, we may even see higher tides and higher water, and we're going to lose some roads because of it.
Yeah, it's what's interesting, and I posted this morning, and you know the drill well. For anyone who has lived on the coast for any period of time, especially those who lived through Katrina, there's a lot of PCSD out there. That, the reality is that people feel the stress of having experienced storms, and they see this situation unfolding so slowly, and they've been watching this thing for 2 days, wondering where it's going. And this could be a very it looks, when you look at it on the radar, it seems close, but it's going to unfold extraordinarily slowly, isn't it? So we just have to continue to watch it closely.
No, I got it. I got it. The cone, just as I will always say, and I can't remember, Wade would tell me that, in my puppy days down here, don't follow that black line. Somewhere's in there. But until it makes landfall, you don't know exactly where. Now, the meteorologists, the experts are telling me the model runs are tightening up. Um, but the water's already here. That's a reality. Uh, we're seeing at the higher elevation, say if somebody was in one of our high rises, which we don't have a lot, most of those are have limited or ride out teams on them. Some of our casino locations, the higher up you see, the higher value of the winds. Um, we still have those problems. The one thing I will say that is a little bit better side of this, that eastern side is going to have more tornado activity. I feel much better about that right now.
Yeah.
But let those rains set in, those rivers get high. We're going to have a lot of flash flooding because the waters can't recede into the bays or into the Mississippi Sound. So, again, it's a water issue, and I don't want to lose a life because of water.
I can't agree more. Until this thing has made landfall and gets away from us, we cannot drop our guard. And, I think to some extent that had it moved to the west of us, like in, the New Orleans area, we'd be getting all that rain that's now in Pensacola and Mobile and all that. So if there's a saving grace, the big rains for the most part across the coast, I know they started in Jackson County now, but they haven't started across the coast in earnest. That's actually a benefit to us in terms of the water kind of stacking up. That doesn't mean the rain's not coming and that we still shouldn't be prepared for extraordinary flash flooding event, correct?
Correct. Yesterday, they were saying, some of it, and probably I was quoted on this because that's what we were looking at what they were saying at that point. Wherever the storm makes landfall, they're going to measure that by the feet, rainfall by the feet. For us, unless but we've seen this. Actually, Jackson County saw this in Isaac. They have one of those feeder bins in there on the east part of their county. And yes, that was measured by the feet. But yes, that is a little bit of saving grace. Now, I'm not going to say we're still not going to have some power outages. Again, if you're traveling, you may see water in places that we haven't seen waters. I did a little bit of the Bayou Bernard area, kind of looking at Gulfport Lake, and the waters are higher there right now than actually I was expecting.
Yeah, right.
So,
Right.
some people, like I said, don't let your guard down, and let's hope we don't see a foot of rain. Because then the rivers are definitely going to come up, and then we go to that long-term problem of river flooding.
So, Rupert, how's your team doing? I know you've been in an emergency mode, like we said, going on probably 3 days now at least.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Well, actually, our city partners and county partners, I mean, we started talking about this officially on Sunday. Well, Saturday was a busy day on emails and some phone calls, but we're doing everything. We brought in a few more people, still trying to keep up to the governor's executive orders and keep us safe. And we've got to stay safe because we got to help, the citizens of the great state of Mississippi. Regardless, some people listen to us and make plans inland. But this wonderful world of technology through Zoom conferencing, through Skyping, through conference calls. We're getting pretty good at it. Especially, and I'm going to say I'm an old dog to be using all this modern technology, and I don't think people are saying that we're missing any beat because of that.
Yeah, it's been great watching you guys. By the way, this is Rupert Lacey, who's head of emergency management for Harrison County that we're talking to. Yeah, it's been great seeing you guys in action. And it's we've talked about this on my show just about every day now since the pandemic started. That technology has really enabled us to do things, whether it's education or the corporate meetings or medicine, even in an emergency management scenario like you're in now. Your ability to be able to communicate with your team the way that we're talking on this conference call now. The ability to use Skype and communicate with people who really are looking for more information. It's just incredible. And then we'll post this video on social media, and more people will share it, and they'll be able to understand sort of what the current thinking of the emergency head for Harrison County is. We're not missing a lick. To what extent were you concerned that some people may not evacuate or do what they need to do because they were concerned about the pandemic?
Well, we opened shelters, and that fortunately to help people, to put them a little bit at ease. We started working on that, dealing with COVID, March 1.
Yeah.
We took our original plan, pulled it out, looked at what we have or what we typically would do, how we would do it. And, the first thing, we were looking at the guidance, what CDC was pushing out, and then our state health department, Department of Health, then our nonprofit organizations. And we took the square footage and we cut it down.
Hey, Rupert, can we do this? We're at the end of the break. Can you come back on the other side for a couple of minutes?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we do this? This is Rupert Lacey, head of emergency management for Harrison County, and we're just kind of talking about the current situation. We'll see you after this break.
A storm surge warning is in effect for coastal Mississippi as well. Surge of 6 to 9 feet now possible along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Rainfall estimates now projected to be around 2 to 4 inches in Hancock County and up.
Dad, the best thing that ever happened to someone. The face they look for in a crowd. So give yourself more credit. Start with a Credit Boost CD from the Citizens Bank. Just borrow money that goes into a CD, make regular on-time payments, and boost your credit score while building savings. You're obviously much better at getting credit than you think. The Citizens Bank, in your corner. Member FDIC.
If you're a State Farm customer affected by the recent hurricane and need to submit a claim, call 1-800-SF-CLAIM. Go to statefarm.com.
At Liberty Mutual, that's how we feel about overpaying for insurance.
But I do miss having shelves.
What would you put on them?
Nothing, obviously.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Napa know-how.
At Napa, you can get a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $26.99. An incredible oil for an unbeatable price from the best car people around. Making this deal the best of the best of the best of the best of the best deals around. That's Mobil 1, only $26.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/20.
This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on
Welcome back to Coast View. This is Ricky Matthews, and appreciate you joining us. I know we're under this hurricane warning, and people want to know, what's the latest. We have Rupert Lacey with us, who's the head of emergency management for Harrison County. And Rupert, by the way, it's great to talk to you again. I mean, it's been a long time since we've had a conversation.
It has been.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed. I'd been retired for about 4 years and had this opportunity to create this show, Coast View, for SuperTalk. And it's an opportunity to really celebrate the men and women who make coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to kind of get back in touch with the community, do something positive. And even in the midst of the hurricane, it's been about trying to keep sanity to the conversation. Because as you know, there are a lot of experts out there right now. Everybody who's got an iPhone is a hurricane expert. You see that too, don't you?
I do.
So it's at the end of the day, so important for us just to listen to the National Hurricane Center, and you'll get your thoughts about this. But one of the things that I have seen is that when a model run comes out, everybody has access to that information, and so they immediately start sharing with their social media friends that this is where the storm's going to go. That is not always the case, and in this particular case, it's especially maybe not the case because the steering currents of this particular hurricane, they're so weak. And at this stage of the game, a little drift here or there, this close to the coastline, could really change the trajectory of the storm, couldn't it?
It could. Now, they're getting more confident. I will say that because I have talked to our Slidell office, and I have been in contact with the Hurricane Center. Remember the director is or we'll call him a coastal native, because he did his initial tour in the Weather Service out of New Orleans Baton Rouge office, and then he was meteorologist in charge of the New Orleans Baton Rouge office prior to taking over that position at the Hurricane Center. But look at the winds. Look at projected winds. It is, and I hate it, and it has been the standard for the year. The poor Panhandle, every storm that has developed, they have gotten the outfall or outflow from a storm. So they're definitely more hurricane weary than anybody in the Gulf Theater right now. But the issues are still there. Storm surge, the winds, the potential tropical force winds are coming to us. They are here. They'll get a little bit stronger. We could see the rain, just not as much. But let's hope that we don't see hurricane force winds. Right now, the modeling and even on the track modeling and everything, Jackson County's not looking so good, but Harrison County, with some of our outskirts, could see that from what we're looking at. The 10 o'clock forecast, the big package comes out here in about 35 minutes to the public, maybe a little bit more to the east. But until it makes landfall, you can't let your guard down. Can we have power outages? Yes. Are we going to have flooding? Yes, in some areas. So got to hang in there.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I've said this on my show many times. People just have to pay attention. They have to look at each storm with its individual characteristics. Every storm's different. Don't make a decision to do anything on this storm based on past storms. Listen to the emergency officials. Do what you need to do under this circumstance. But what I've said is we faced so many challenges here in coastal Mississippi over the many years. If it weren't hurricanes, it was algae bloom and the BP oil spill and all these things. And I like to say on my show that resiliency is part of our DNA in coastal Mississippi. And one of the things I posted yesterday, and I think you probably will agree with this, it's so interesting to see that in this very polarized political world that we live in today, when the storm comes, people come together, people helping each other. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, black or white, it doesn't make any difference. People in coastal Mississippi, when the going gets tough, we help each other. And I like to think that this storm, especially if it doesn't hit us directly, was a good reminder for us not only to be prepared and be ready and be thankful if we don't take the direct hit, so to speak, we're still going to have impact. But it's also a reminder that in this polarized world, that buildings don't make a community, the people do. And we're so lucky to live here because of that, aren't we?
That is so true, so true. Our people are a resilient crowd, and as we've watched over the years, they'll stand up to the challenge. They listen, they make the right decisions, and that keeps us all safe.
It does, and there'll probably be some needs that have to be met after this storm in the local area. As you pointed out, Jackson County may not be so lucky. They may get a lot more of this than they're hoping for. But at the end of the day, they'll come to each other's aid, or will come to each other's aid to deal with the situation. So, as you guys, how much longer do you anticipate that we're going to be in this emergency mode?
Talking to Slidell, the 10 o'clock kind of got a little idea, a little bit more breathing room, but until it makes landfall, we've got issues until that water recedes. And I say this because we do storm surge and then we do river flooding. That's going to make a difference. And then and I hate to say this, kind of as parting remarks, did talk to Jim Cantori a little bit ago. Told him this yearly stuff is kind of getting old, but he said, it's only the 15th day of September, so hell, you may see me again.
Unfortunately. Well, Rupert, thank you for your time. Good luck to you guys. I hope that we get the breathing room that you talk about. And basically the message to everyone is just stay on your guard while until this thing makes landfall. There's going to be impact in coastal Mississippi, and just stay prepared until we can literally breathe a sigh of relief.
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it so much.
All right.
So look, we've got a couple other guests that we're going to be talking to. One that I really want to talk to is Jamie Bates. You'll know him. We'll talk more about who Jamie is if you don't know him when he comes on. Jamie, can you unmute your mic and join us? He'll get that done here in just a second. But
it's muted.
Yeah, there you are. How you doing, buddy?
Good, and you?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. We've had an extended Coast View session with Jamie. He's literally a consummate community volunteer. Let's put it that way. I mean, he's done so many important things, from helping emergency personnel and first responders, not only here, but really around the Gulf South and really around the country. We'll tell you more about what that is in a second. And he also is a professional photographer. I used to work with Jamie at the Sun Herald. He's a journalist. He's really a jack of all trades. And you just got back from Western Louisiana over into Lake Charles area, didn't you, buddy?
Yeah, we were in Rose Pine with the Giving Back Foundation, serving meals.
So interesting time. So let's talk just a minute. What Rupert was saying just now was that, the models, as I'm sure you have seen, shows that the storm is inching a little bit more to the east. Of course, Jackson County is, while it may not necessarily be in the crosshair for a direct hit, it's obviously having impact as we speak. He expects, storm surge to still be an issue for coastal Mississippi. There's a chance for some torrential downfalls as well as we get closer to this thing as this thing gets closer to the shoreline. So you guys are sort of, waiting prepared. So what I want you to do, tell people about your organization and what you do, and then we'll take that to the end of the break, and then we'll pick up on the other side.
Yes, I'm a volunteer with the Giving Back Foundation. Our mission is to provide meals, hot meals after disasters, and in partnership with local churches in those communities that have been impacted. It's typically a 5 to 10 day goal is what we're looking at in serving meals, is starting as fast as we can after a disaster. So we're already looking at possible churches to partner with in the potential path that, as we see it, as the forecasters have given us. And so we've reached out to a couple of those and yesterday, and we'll do more of that today, just to see who's interested to partner with us if their community is impacted in a significant way. And so,
So, Jamie, let's do this. We're coming to the end of this segment. We'll pick it up on the other side. But this is Jamie Banks, and again, he's just a volunteer that has helped in so many different ways, from the homeless to disaster relief. And we'll pick up this conversation on the other side.
We work really hard to partner with local churches after disasters to provide hot meals. We want to partner with the church to help them help their community, help them be visible in their community. And so we go in as soon as we can with big cooking equipment, volunteers, and uh, we seek donations of meat and supplies. Donations financially can be made at the givingback.org, and back is spelled B-A-K. It's for Build a Kingdom, givingback.org. And so we're looking at this storm right now, just trying to see if there's a need. We hope that it goes away, but we are looking at churches that may be potential partners for us so we can help as soon as we can. And when we went to Louisiana, we served about 47,000, almost 48,000 meals over about a 6-day period. All hot meals, a lot of competition barbecue coming out. Guys with 120-gallon jambalaya pots, just doing it Cajun style. And we had a good time helping people. God has blessed us, and we want to bless others.
So, Jamie, tell me what you saw when you went over there.
I didn't go through Lake Charles. I was on the way to Lake Charles to set up a cook site to help with that. And we were diverted just north of DeRidder in Rose Pine, small community. And, really halfway there, we got shifted. And a lot of big kitchens will go to the bigger cities. With the Giving Back Foundation, we really want to try to focus on smaller communities that maybe are underserved, that aren't getting the attention from media or other organizations, because there's a need, all over the place. As you know, after Katrina, there are small communities that need us. And there were trees on houses and cars. 3 days in, we were getting reports of elderly people who hadn't eaten or had water in 3 days. One was a lady. There were 2 police officers on shift in Rose Pine, and an officer came up to us, and it wasn't even during a mealtime really, but he came up and he said, I've just located an elderly lady who hasn't eaten in 3 days. She had posted on social media that she needed help. So we were able to provide meals for her, and about 2,500, 3,000 meals a day on average is what we put out during that storm. There was a nursing home, same situation. For some reason, they were forgotten. No food or water for 3 days. And so those are cases that remind us of the importance of being there and knowing that people need help. And we just want to do our best to be there.
Well, I talk about it all the time on my show. 1,000 Points of Light are such a great description, because you have all of these nonprofits that do these roles after a disaster, but they get overwhelmed, and some are impacted by the storm and not able to act immediately. And so there are all these gaps. I mean, the nursing home example that you just gave, I'm sure that whoever makes the decisions to feed those people and take care of those people, something happened to them. They were unable to get back, or whatever the situation might have been. And that's when you really do rely on volunteers. You see it over and over again everywhere you go, don't you?
Yeah, there's always a similar need. It's just the nature of what we're dealing with. Resources can be depleted. It can be difficult to get to places. And so we want to hit it from all sides, all points, as you mentioned.
So it's a collaborative effort. Tell me about the people and organizations that are involved from coastal Mississippi that work toward responding to a disaster.
Yeah, so we know that there's so many groups: our volunteer firefighters, our EMTs, our police officers, our military. They're volunteers, everyday volunteers. They're looking to serve. Maybe just your neighbor who's got a chainsaw ready to help you get out of your driveway.
Yeah,
it's all important.
So Jimmy, why don't we do this? Hang tight with us for a second. We have Brian Adams, who's head of emergency management for Hancock County, who just joined us. Brian, how you doing, buddy?
Doing fine. How are y'all?
We're doing good. We really appreciate you joining us. So what's the situation as it is right now for you guys over in Hancock County?
Rick, right now we're not seeing a whole lot of rain at this time. We're seeing a lot of flooded streets. We have a lot of surge coming in on us. We've had over 200 streets flooded so far. The tide is actually still rising. High tide's about 11:30. So we still expect to see some more tides for a little while.
Yeah, I think too many people say we dodged a bullet, and you got to keep in mind that through Super Talk Gulf Coast, we're talking to the whole coast from Hancock County. We even have listeners that go over to Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. Um, so this storm, it does look like it's going to inch a little bit east, but coastal Mississippi is still going to have impact. You guys, the biggest impact for Hancock County as it sits today is storm surge. Essentially,
A-
that's your biggest concern, right?
Absolutely, and that's been for 2 days.
So, and so, how has that limited people's ability to be able to move around in the county?
Our main thoroughfares are clear. This is all our low-lying areas, main thoroughfares into the low-lying areas. Right now, you can't get into any of them at this time, and our people have been evacuating for the last few days. So we haven't had any issues with doing rescues. So we've been very thankful and grateful for that.
Well, you guys did a good job with the sequencing of the mandatory evacuations. I paid very close attention to that, and you had to have been pleased with the way the community responded.
You know, I'm always, I hate to say this, always pleased with our citizens because, especially those who are in the low-lying areas, they know when they get out. We deal with this 30 to 40 times a year with street flooding just on abnormal high tide and southeast wind. So they are very vigilant. And, do we have a few people who like to stay in? Absolutely. But, the majority of them heed the warning and get out.
What's interesting, and we can say it as it relates to you guys. If the storm had gone to its original path, which is in the New Orleans area, that would have been the worst case scenario for Hancock County. So you have to be thanking God that you were spared that.
I don't wish any bad things on anybody else, but absolutely, I'm very pleased that it went the other way, because that would have been worst case scenario for us.
It really would have been. It's been interesting. I hate to say this, but with the levee protection system in New Orleans, I spent time in New Orleans with the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com, and with the efforts that are underway over there to protect that city. If it weren't the Bonnie Carey spillway, it's maybe how the flood control programs are affecting Hancock County. There's a lot of impact in Hancock County as a result of that, isn't there?
I believe it is absolutely. We've discussed this many a times over here. When you ask some people, they'll say, it probably doesn't. But I've been here almost 20 years, and I see the difference in the flooding since that's happened.
I hear that over and over again, and I'm sure as they continue to study the whole issue of the Mississippi River and the levee system and the flood control systems and all of that, certainly the Bonnie Carey spillway opened up this conversation in ways that we were not having the conversation before, that we'll get a better understanding of how these changes they've made, the Corps of Engineers changes they've made, and how it's ultimately not just impacted Hancock County, but impacted all of coastal Mississippi. I'm hoping that we get to the bottom of that. But as we sit now, how's your team doing? I bet you guys are tired, huh?
We're a little bit wore out, but you know what? I have a great group. We have a lot of outside groups in and wonderful help.
Well, that's awesome. Any messages you want to get to people before we let you go?
Absolutely. For our citizens, don't go into low-lying areas yet. Let the water go down and just, take your time getting back in and don't rush.
Well, that's good advice. And listen, congratulations on executing your emergency plan so expertly, and thank the citizens of Hancock County for heeding your advice. And you can thank your lucky stars this time.
Absolutely.
Maybe next time.
That's right. Thank y'all.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Thank you very much. So, Jamie, why don't you come on back in? And it's so one of the things that I'm always so pleased by. I don't care who we're talking. It could be a mayor, it could be a volunteer, it could be nonprofit sector, it could be just someone in a corporate community giving back to the community. Emergency management people, of course. We're really lucky to have good leadership in place here in coastal Mississippi, aren't we?
Amen. Yeah, there's not a better place, in my opinion. I love coastal Mississippi. I love our leaders. I love our community. We're a special place, and it's because of the people that are here.
and we've been tested. We've been tested. So while our friend over in Hancock County may be breathing a sigh of relief, so to, for the most part, the emergency operations people over in Jackson County are not feeling that way. And of course, as we just heard from Rupert Lacey, while it may be that the eye will pass to our east, there's still some rain coming. There's still some wind coming. There's still potential storm surge coming for parts of Harrison County. So we've just got to really pay attention. But the thought that we've got these key people in these emergency slots they've been weathered by storms of the past, it puts us in a good position where the public can really have confidence in their leaders and act accordingly. Hey, when we come back, we'll ask Jamie to join us for a few more minutes, and I'll have Kyle in on the conversation, and we'll kind of sum it all up. We'll be back after this break.
SuperTalk. Nobody keeps Mississippi informed like we do. With 12 stations covering all 82 counties. If it happens in your state, we're on top of it. The news, the weather, the sports, and the talk that's important to you. The issues that matter to you, your family, and your bank account. It's all right here. And when you're away from home, depend on the SuperTalk app and supertalk.fm to stay in the know. We're proud to serve our fellow Mississippians. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is, why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We are with the fabulous Norbert Putnam, as he played on so many hit records, you can't count them, and produced for some of the biggest acts ever. Norbert, Elvis.
And I want to tell you about Presley. He had two different voices. He would sit and talk to me in a very calm, low voice. And we were at Stack's one night, and we were having lunch. We always had lunch at midnight because he was nocturnal. We sat there and we have our sandwiches, and at 1 o'clock, he looked up. He said, "Hey, Put, come on, it's time for me to go be Elvis." And he stood up, in a much deeper voice, he put on his macho voice. "Hey, fellas, it's 1 o'clock. Let's get cracking, okay?"
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, Amazon Alexa, and now on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Everyone knows the only thing better than pizza is free pizza, and right now, buy a $10 gift certificate to CiCi's Pizza for only $5. It's like buying a pizza and getting a pizza for free. Go to our station's website or Facebook. Look for the Half Off Deals logo to purchase this amazing deal right now.
We give HPV vaccine to children at 11 or 12 years of age. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and I've given the vaccine to all of them.
Get out of the house and over to Big Play today. 2 massive arcades, bowling, go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, a 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena, bumper cars, and right now get a $50 game card for only $25. Visit our station's Facebook and print on demand so you can play at Big Play Entertainment Center now. These deals won't last long, so make sure you get your half-off deal. Big Play Entertainment Center, Highway 90, Biloxi. Bowl, play, eat. Go to our station's Facebook to get your half-off deal now.
Welcome back to Coast View. Let me do a little test here. Kyle, are you with me?
I am here.
You can hear me fine, though, right?
I can hear you. I have a little echo when I talk, but I can deal with it.
Well, I don't have an echo. Listen, let me explain to our listeners. Kyle is actually in the studio. We've been doing this show remotely, but because of the hurricane, we're not taping. We're doing a live show. We're using Skype. We're using dial-in. We got all kinds of things happening. At the beginning of the show, Kyle actually encountered a serious echo problem, and he had to help us work through that. And it caused a little bit of a issue at the beginning of the show. And at the beginning of the third segment, we had a little issue with how we restarted the show. That was a technical issue he had to resolve. And then I wanted to be able to talk to him, and he just, we had to test that live. So I want to thank our listeners for dealing with that. We'll be live actually for the next couple of days. So we just had to work through these issues. We have Jamie Bates still with us. Jamie Bates is with the Giving Back Foundation. He's a professional photographer. He's just someone I dearly admire because of his commitment to the community. And then, of course, we have Kyle with us as well. But today we've had a conversation with Rupert Lacey from Harrison County and then Brian Adams from over in Hancock County. The folks in Jackson County have their hands full right now, and we're wishing them well and hoping they can, they won't have as big an impact as is the potential. But so far, we've been lucky in coastal Mississippi. We've got a flash flood watch that's in effect until actually tomorrow at 9:00. So, or actually till Thursday at 9:00. So we just have to, wait and see how this thing plays out. But so far, so good for coastal Mississippi. What are you seeing on your end, Kyle?
So far, so good. Harrison County's doing pretty good. Like you said, Jackson County is the one we have to worry about. Again, I think I've got more wind out of this storm than I have in the previous 3. And I guess that just goes to show the scope of it and how it hasn't actually made landfall yet. So we're,
I think we're still going to get significant rain. We're still going to get tropical storm force winds. We're still going to get some storm surge. But Kyle, it's the same thing that you said before. And people, we talked a little bit about this with Brian and with Rupert, but people have to look at each storm. Don't make any decisions based on the past storm, what you're going to do this storm. Your concern all along is that people will drop their guard because we get so many close calls. And we just got to make people don't do that.
I really do. I really think people are going to take this storm, especially people in Harrison County westward over to Hancock County, minus the ones that are dealing with flooding over there. They're going to take this and go, oh, it's not going to come here. They're always going to shift the track to the right or to the left, and they're going to stay, and it's going to be the one time that they really wish they would have left.
And Jamie, who goes to all these disasters all over the Gulf South, Jamie, it didn't take you very long to realize that we're always a degree on a compass away from a disaster in a case like this, and we just got to keep our guards up, don't we?
Yes, my approach is to prepare for the worst and to be ready. And should the storm move elsewhere, I do my best to take the supplies that I've got, my neighbors have got, and go help the people who need it when it's safe to do so.
Hey, remind people how they, there may be some needs in Jackson County we still don't know yet. There may be needs in other parts of Harrison County we still don't know yet. But tell people how they can be in touch with your organization if they want to help you.
Yeah, so the Giving Back Foundation, givingbak.org, the website, the Facebook page will have some updates. You can email me at james@daddy'sbbq.com if you need to reach out. I'm not sure if we're going to have collections yet for this storm. We did for Laura. We'll figure that out in the next couple of days. We've got a conference call in an hour and to figure out our game plan. Just look for organizations and churches here locally that are collecting supplies when that happens. If you don't need it, we know that others will. And there are great organizations like Giving Back and others that are going to be involved in helping. and they'll be coming from all directions. And so all that's very important. We know that when we've lost everything, we don't have power for a week, 2, 4 weeks, worst case scenario, then that assistance is welcome.
Well, Jamie, I want to thank you for joining us. We'll have you back in a couple of weeks and just kind of check in with you, see how things are going. And if you do mobilize or whatever the impact's going to be east of us, we still don't know that yet. We'll have you on and you can tell people how they can be involved.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Hey, Kyle, you want to come back in, buddy? There he is. How much time we have, Kyle?
We got about a minute, 2 minutes.
Well, good. So what are you seeing in the latest weather reports?
So far, it is still just meandering. It's not really going anywhere. It started that northwest track, and it's still moving at like 2 miles an hour. We have the new update. It's probably out now. I haven't had a chance to look at it.
It is. It has it going in south of Mobile.
South of Mobile, east of Pascagoula.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is it's going to continue to go, at least they expect it to continue to go north, and then essentially start to move a little bit more to the northeast. But as they say, it looks like from about the Jackson County line eastward is still in a hurricane warning area. So essentially we got to stay on our guard. We have to, because it's meandering, because the steering currents aren't great, coastal Mississippi needs to still pay attention until we get an all clear, siren, so to speak.
Yeah, batten down the hatches. Let's get this thing through.
I want to thank you for joining us today on Coast View. We'll be live again tomorrow and probably Thursday, and we'll sort of be reviewing. We'll have some mayors on tomorrow to see how things went for them, and let's continue to pray that coastal Mississippi has as little impact as possible. So with that said, have a good day and get some rest, and we'll see you tomorrow.